is for Michael. So, we talked a lot about how Finn is kind of innovated this deck, kind of brought it back into this format, improved it. What is the matchup versus VMAX one of the reasons that you do that? Because when you choose to play a deck like this, it's kind of off the beaten path that no one else kind of is playing or believes in. You have to have very good reasons.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it does have a reasonably solid Mew VMAX matchup. Of course, Blizzard Rondo, the attack on Suicune, deals more damage for how many benched Pokemon are in play. Not just your benched Pokemon, but your opponents as well. And the only way Mew VMAX can really function as a deck, the way players have built this deck right now, is with a bench of 5 Pokemon. So that's effectively meaning Daniel's going to be doing minimum 120 damage for the 20 base plus the 5 Pokemon on Michael's bench. And then you add in all the other Pokemon Daniel can put on his bench. You add in things like the Ludicolo with its enthusiastic dance ability, boosting the damage of basic Pokemon by 100 that specific turn that the Ludicolo evolves, and you're talking about a deck that can pretty reasonably get to a one-hit KO on the VMAX Pokemon of Mew VMAX for 3 prize cards.
And I think what you said is very important there. I think it's very true. And I think the thing is that other decks, like a lot of decks versus Suicune, will just say, well, I just won't bench that many Pokemon. I'll manage my bench. I'll kind of control my resources a little bit. But Mew VMAX just can't do that. The Fusion Strike system ability is very powerful, but just relies on you having a maximum amount of Fusion Strike Pokemon in play. And you just kind of, like you said, the deck is just not built in a way where it can function without having a large bench.
And Michael's getting a great start to this turn with Battle VIP Pass. We've seen it time and time again today. This card is the ideal piece to see in your opening hand on turn 1. Going first or going second, doesn't really matter. It's going to get you 2 basic Pokemon into play, exactly what Mew VMAX wants to do.
Yeah, I think the games that Mew VMAX opens with, a Battle VIP Pass or even 2 turn out very differently, or at least it's a lot harder for them to get into the same position in games that they don't. It's just an incredibly powerful card, obviously very narrow, can only be played on your first turn, but really allows for Mew VMAX to have its kind of most aggressive, best starts.
So 2 Genesect hit the field. This is the lifeblood of this deck, right? Genesect V with its Fusion Strike system ability, drawing you cards up until you have that many cards in your hand as you have Fusion Strike Pokemon in play. So as we see right away, Michael
Turn 1
getting a full bench of 5, gets a basic Psychic Energy drop onto the Mew V, and this turn is not over, Kenny. We're going to see plenty of Fusion Strike systems to fill this hand up over and over and over again.
Yeah, so really important, kind of something that's different from Fusion Strike system with a lot of other abilities you may have seen is that Fusion Strike system can be used multiple times in a turn, well, once for every Genesect you have.
Sure.
But really what it does, based on the way that this deck is built, is that the Fusion Strike systems beget more Fusion Strike systems. You do 1, and you say, okay, well, I've drawn up to 6. I certainly can't do anything else. Well, I'll Cram-O-Matic, I'll Ultra Ball, I'll Quick Ball. Okay, I guess I'll draw another 4 or 5. Okay, well, now I'll Cram-O-Matic, I'll Ultra Ball. And you can just, if you watch any of the matches we've streamed of the Mew VMAX deck, you just see over and over again just getting so far through your deck. And speaking of, kind of one end of it, I think you referred to Genesect as the lifeblood of this deck. Elisa Sparkle, the supporter that you see on your screen here, is also really what makes this deck function.
Absolutely, because you can just grab 2 energies out of your deck and put them into play on 2 of your Fusion Strike Pokemon. And now on Michael's first turn, he's threatening a knockout on this Sobble, a 1 prize KO. Not too bad, but more importantly, it's going to take a Sobble out of play, and Drizzyle's Shady Dealings ability. If Fusion Strike System's the lifeblood of Michael's deck, Drizzyle's Shady Dealings is the lifeblood of Daniel's.
Absolutely. We've seen time and time again this kind of Inteleon engine, and especially with that Rapid Strike Sobble that allows you to search for more Sobble.
And we'll choose to shuffle this Mew in, which I think is a good decision because it puts one of your important pieces into, harm's way. A Suicune could pretty easily come in and get a KO. But pushing the Meloetta with an energy on it is a little interesting. I almost wonder if that Fusion Strike energy could have been dropped like somewhere else, so you can keep that card in play. I think pushing the 1 prizer is really smart for sure, but losing a Fusion Strike energy feels really bad.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be interested to see how this next turn goes for Daniel. That Meloetta can definitely get knocked out here, and then you're down a Fusion Strike energy, as you said.
Ooh.
There's the rare candy.
Not really how you want to be using your rare candies in this deck. You want to really save those for the Ludicolo. But in this instance, it's all Daniel had, so he's going to have to go with it. Shady Dealings, still very strong, obviously, can get any 2 trainer cards out of the deck and put them directly to hand, eyeing up Melanie and the Capacious Bucket. So it seems like Finn's trying to piece together how he can pull off a Blizzard Rondo this turn.
Yeah, sometimes you have to do what you have to do. You know, the Intelligent engine is so powerful. Like you said, you usually want to be playing the Drizzile first, kind of getting your max value there. But when you're in a position like this, you just have to make those kinds of decisions. It looks like Capacious Bucket, Melanie were the 2 cards selected off the Shady Dealings. And then we're going to see, of course, immediately that water energy hits the discard pile from the Quick Ball, kind of turning on that Melanie, so to speak. So another basic is going to hit the bench from Daniel. Looks like he's just considering exactly what he wants to do here. You know, is it another Sobble? Is it another Suicune? The answer, I don't think, is very simple.
Yeah, it does choose the Sobble, which I think is smart. It's what's nice about this deck is that you can really function without having a backup Suicune in play. You don't have to like promote the Suicune on the turn that your active one gets KO'd, because you have things like the Cross Switcher, because you have things like the Melanie, Scoop Up Net being a big one as well, because you can reset all your Drizziles, your Shady Dealings to reuse them. So now Daniel uses the Melanie, gets to draw 3 cards. Such a strong supporter for water decks like this one. Ooh, and it's 2 basic Pokemon. That's a huge hit.
Yeah, so after having the rare candy into the Inteleon, kind of maybe showing that he had a little bit of a weak hand here, is actually just kind of firing on all cylinders now. Not quite a full bench, but 2 more Sobble down, a lot of more possibilities to have Shady Dealings and the 2 energy, of course, off the Melanie. That's the knockout, and that's the Meloetta and the Fusion Strike energy gone for Michael.
Michael has a Mew, can send it to the active, gets a new card, and it is a Boss's Orders. Something that players can do from time to time is chase down Lotads, right? Because that's how Suicune gets to 1-hit KO numbers on these Mew VMAX, is by using Ludicolo's Enthusiastic Dance. But if you're using Boss's Orders and taking out those Lotads, knocking them out before they have a chance to evolve, you're really limiting your opponent's ability to reach for those big numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do see the evolution into Mew VMAX, that double turbo energy immediately hits the board. And we have a Mew VMAX in the active spot. It has that choice belt on it, and we'll see with that Boss's Orders off the top. We'll see what kind of a strategy Michael chooses to go for here. He is going to go ahead and Boss's Orders the Lotad, so he is doing exactly what you said, just trying to prevent those big numbers and those big knockouts.
Yeah, I really like this. This is super heads up from Michael. I think it's exactly how you want to play this matchup as the Mew player. And usually Daniel's going to try to bench multiple Lotads in a turn if he can. Just wasn't able to quite get there on this specific instance.
And that Lotad is not long for this world. It's in the active position, and that's one of the other great things, I mean, really about the way both of these decks are built, but especially the Mew VMAX deck is, okay, well, I can afford to play things like Elisa Sparkle or Boss's Orders because I just have Fusion Strike, so I just have this kind of built-in supporter that honestly draws more cards than most supporters do. And there we do see the knockout, another just single prize for Michael there. So we move into Daniel's turn.
Yeah, and this is maybe Michael taking a little bit of advantage of list knowledge here, because Daniel's list has been very well known since he got 2nd place at Salt Lake City. Now, Daniel has chosen to change a few things up in the list here and there, but one of the big innovations from his list for Salt Lake was that he played no boss and the cross switchers. We talked about that at the beginning of the game. So Michael knows that Daniel only has 2 turns where he can gust. Only 2 times to like gust a Genesect and get a 2-prize knockout. So Daniel can't just go chase 3 Genesects in the game and ignore Mew VMAXs. What Michael's forcing Daniel to do is at some point get to a 1-hit KO on a Mew VMAX, and if you're chasing Lotads, that's never something Daniel's going to be able to do.
Yeah, exactly. Taking out the support Pokemon is not something that always happens. Oh, well, we see another rare candy into Inteleon. So just losing so much value is Daniel here by not having those Drizzile evolutions. Again, sometimes when you're just in a rough position, that's what you have to do, but you know that's not it's not exactly the way he built the deck. And then also to mention, I mean, it's not just about losing the Drizzile value too, it's about losing those rare candies, as you mentioned earlier. Those are resources. and that's just it's never what you want to see.
Has 3 rare candies in the deck, so there's only 1 left. That means there's only 1 opportunity to go for an enthusiastic dance and go for a big one-hit knockout on a Mew VMAX. Looks like Daniel deciding on the 2 Shady Dealings cards. Quick Ball is the first grab, and Melanie will be the other one. Maybe wants to power up another Suicune on the bench.
It looks like, again, just as last turn, we're going to see that Water Energy hit the discard pile off of the Quick Ball. Really nice synergy there with Melanie. Another Suicune does enter the hand of Daniel here.
I would have maybe liked to see Daniel try to get 2 Lotads in play this turn if he could have. It's a lot to try and pull off. I understand wanting to set up a second Suicune, I feel like, because like I think Daniel's only real supporter, Daniel's only supporter besides Raihan in this deck is the 4 copies of Melanie. So the only way he really gets more cards is by playing the Melanie. So you want to advance your hand size, and it only accelerates to Pokemon V. But by only benching 1 Lotad, Michael can kind of just do the same thing he did on the last turn.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is... I guess if you're Daniel here, what you're saying as well, I think it's I think it's more important to have the additional Suicune in play, and then B, I'm doubting your ability to make that same play again, which maybe is a risky proposition. It's one of the things that I think really benefits players who are playing decks like this.
Ooh, actually gets to go for the Raihan here as opposed to Melanie. Must be one specific piece that Daniel feels like he needs here. Let's see what he grabs. Ooh, must have drawn the other cross switcher. Or can get it with a Drizzile.
Yeah, so we're going to see the cross switcher and then the evolution incense into the Drizzile, the first Drizzile of the game, despite there being 2 Inteleons in play. And of course, that does grab the other cross switcher. So now we have the double cross switcher action going on here.
So Daniel's just going to chase a 2-prize KO on the bench, targeting either Mew or Genesect. And then he's just 1 Mew VMAX KO away from closing out the game. Let's see what he brings up here. You could either target the draw that Genesect provides, or you could take out the Mew V, since that is a Psychic Leap target for your opponent, and that's something that Michael probably wants to do at some point in this matchup.
Yeah, I was going to say it's actually not exactly simple on which one you decide to do.
Definitely not.
He has gone for the Mew here. That's 2 more prizes. Unfortunately, those 2 cross switchers are still not going to be relevant at any point.
Not great, because yeah, most likely the way Daniel, with those 2 cross switchers being prized, the only way Daniel is going to take prizes at this point is whatever prize Michael puts into the active for him from like a Psychic Leap or something like that, or if he can find a way to get through a Mew VMAX.
Right, which is going to even kind of increase the reliance on this Ludicolo.
Michael's hand is pretty clogged up here with unthinnable cards. He's got that 1 copy of Marnie, a very popular tech in this deck right now. Has the Oricorio to bench, and then can throw a Fusion Strike energy somewhere. Has Echoing Horn, you can't play that. And yeah, Michael's just going to choose to go with the Marnie.
Yeah, so we do see that Marnie here, and as you said, it is a very popular tech. I think basically all the Mew lists I've seen are running it, but that wasn't always the case. What do you think drives that decision to play the 1 Marnie now?
Oh, it's definitely because of the deck that won EUIC. Gustavo Wada winning with the Rapid Strike Urshifu Galarian Moltres deck, because the goal of that deck is to just Shady Dealings a bunch, fill your hand with a bunch of cards so that against Mew VMAX, you can pull off a huge combo turn where you get a Galarian Moltres into play using its Malevolent Charge ability, and then go for big attack, taking big 1-hit knockouts.
And that's one of the great things, I think, about kind of the way that metagames develop, and just kind of the way things go when you have these constant kind of high-stakes live tournaments. Is, nobody played Marnie in their Mew, prior to EUIC, or at least very few people did, and now it's kind of just, you have to play it. And I think that just staying on top of the metagame and seeing kind of the decks change week to week and tournament to tournament is just so important, and it was just one of the coolest things about competitive Pokemon TCG.
So Michael puts the Mew V into play. Because the Marnie was played, there will be no boss's orders on the Lotad here, which means Daniel could actually pull off the win on the next turn. Thanks to Oricorio being in play, Daniel is going to need to find the rare candy, the last one in the deck. Going to need to find Ludicolo, and also Choice Belt. If Daniel can find all of those pieces, he'll actually knock out this Mew VMAX and win the game in just 3 turns here.
Yeah, and I think I think if that happens, it's really a testament to this Suicune deck. And we saw, Daniel kind of had a weird start. He had a rare candy in the Teleon. He had to do it again. Things definitely weren't kind of definitely not the ideal setup. But look at he could still just very easily win the game. He has the Melanie. He had the Raihan. Just you don't. This deck doesn't really ask a lot of you. It doesn't have as many moving parts as some of the decks, like even Mew or especially the Urshifu deck that you were just describing.
Definitely. And while Michael didn't get to play Boss, playing the Marnie was actually really good because Daniel was sitting on a pretty large hand. So now Daniel only has 4 cards to work with. We can see there's some pretty good ones there, though, with the Melanie and the Scoop Up Net. Rotom Phone put a Cramomatic on top of the deck for Michael, I believe, so now can discard one of the many item cards in hand to get whatever piece out of the deck he may want, provided, of course, you can hit a heads.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few tails here off the
see it.
Cramomatic. Let's see it.
There's
Okay,
a heads.
this one is a heads. All right, so any card we put in Michael's hand now looks like he's going to go for that double turbo, at least brings it to the front immediately.
Yeah, hasn't attached yet this turn, so maybe just preps that on the Mew V, just something to thin out of the deck. I don't really think there's anything Michael needs right now. Has the attack, has the easy knockout on the Suicune thanks to the Choice Belt already. So, yeah, just kind of getting an energy ready. It doesn't really matter because if Daniel knocks out this Mew, having another energy on a benched Pokemon doesn't matter since the game would be over, but you may as well go ahead and get it ready and prep it on the bench in case Daniel does miss the KO, so you have a Pokemon you can go into.
Yeah, definitely. Prepare for anything that could happen.
If you don't need anything specific, might as well drop an energy. Seems good to me.
Yeah, definitely. We see that second Fusion Strike system used. Just looks like a handful of item cards for Michael here. It does have a Cramomatic, the Echoing Horn, just a bunch
of items.
If he wanted to, he could thin out, play some of those Ultra Balls, play that Cramomatic, and have another huge Fusion Strike system. It remains to be seen exactly what resources he's going to value here, as we do see the Quick Ball discarding the Echoing Horn.
Yeah, not a card that's going to be super good in this matchup. It's a great tech in this deck for pretty much any of the Arceus decks. It's so good to just throw an Arceus V onto the bench and then bring that up because they are so much easier to KO than the Arceus V stars. But it's just not great in this matchup because Daniel's pretty much always going to have a full bench.
Absolutely. So we do see that third and final Fusion Strike system used. It looks like it was just for 2 cards.
Yep, just a couple, but will get the KO. Cross Fusion Strike, copying the Techno Blast of Genesect, dealing more than enough. And now it'll be on to Daniel. Can he win the game? Has Melanie in hand, has the ability to use Fleet-Footed, the active Suicune's ability. Needs just a basic Pokemon, Rare Candy, Ludicolo, and Choice Belt. And with Scoop Up Net, you're going to guarantee 2 of those pieces with Shady Dealings.
Yeah, so we're going to start things off with a Quick Ball. So again, it's really close here. You just need one, the right combination of cards here. Not sure what this Quick Ball is going to do here.
Maybe just thinning out here.
Yeah.
Could also just thin the hand down and then bench the Manaphy in hand so you can draw 1 card from the Rose Tower. That might be what Daniel's going for because he can draw 1 from the Rose Tower, draw 1 from Fleet-Footed, and then draw 3 from Melanie. And I think thanks to Shady Dealings, you can get the Rare Candy or the Choice Belt or the Evolution Incense.
Right.
But you just need to draw 1 more of those pieces. So he's trying to draw as many cards as possible. Rose Tower for 1. Gets a Scoop Up Net, that's not helpful. Can now Fleet-Footed for 1, and then Melanie for 3, and needs to draw 1 of those 3 outs in order to Shady Dealings for the other 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, because of the way the kind of Sobbles and Drizzles and Teleons are in play, the second Scoop Net doesn't work.
No.
It's Capacious Bucket.
That's not too bad, though, because you can thin 2 cards out of the deck. So if you weren't going to draw 1 of your outs, you might as well draw. That's probably the best card that wasn't an out to just win that you could have drawn because it gets 2 other non-outs out of the deck.
Yeah, exactly. So now we still have, again, that Melanie, and then we're going to rely on that Shady Dealing. So I think it really is going to come down to this Melanie here.
Yeah, 3 cards to come. Can Daniel hit 1 of these combo pieces? Rare Candy, Evolution Incense, Ultra Ball, Choice Belt, or Ludicolo. Those are the cards Daniel needs to see. Just 1 of them off of this Melanie. And this is great sequencing as well, using the Melanie before the Shady Dealings because higher odds to draw into 1 of these pieces. Let's see it. He got the choice belt.
Okay.
The last card.
You can see Daniel kind of nod his head. Okay, now I know what to do. Here's the
Yes.
scoop up net. This is one of the pieces. I just need the other two. Evolution Incense finds the Ludicolo, and there should be one rare candy remaining.
Yep.
There it is. It's elementary from this point.
Needs to bench that Sobble once again, and there you go. Blizzard Rondo dealing enough damage thanks to the choice belt, getting through the Oricorio, and Daniel Lynch takes a really close game number 1.
Yeah, extremely close, extremely well played by Daniel. I think a really good example of how to play when things aren't quite going your way. Now, mind you, when I say not quite going your way, you're still getting to rare candy, into shady dealings. You know, there's a lot worse board states you can have than searching your deck for 2 trainer cards every turn, but it's definitely not the way that you want to use those cards, not the way that you want to use those resources. And I think that was just an incredibly well played game by Daniel. And that sequencing in the last turn, as you said, just making sure to do everything exactly right to optimize the chances. That Pokemon is so much about that. It's so much about eking out those little percentages.
And it was really great prize mapping as well from Finn, because he knew after turn 1 when he, turn 2 when he took the knockout on that Meloetta, taking 1 prize, he knew how the next 5 prizes were coming. It was going to be a 2-prize KO and then a big 1-hit knockout on Mew VMAX. He played to that exact game state, and it ended up playing out exactly as he would have hoped.
Absolutely. So, shuffling up for game 2 here. Daniel is up a game. What needs to go different for Michael here in order for him to win? I mean, obviously, finding that combo, if Finn just had whiffed the combo, things would have gone a lot differently.
For sure.
But what is Michael looking for here? And the first turn, I assume he's going to go first. What is he looking for to kind of seal the victory?
Yeah, I wonder if there was a situation where Michael could have dug on the turn that he played Marnie and tried to find boss's orders and take out the Lotad, because that was really Finn's route in that game, was to use Ludicolo and get a big 1-hit KO. If you can ever just boss up those Lotads and take care of them like we saw Michael do in the first turn, the first KO, that's exactly how you want to play this. So I think that's really what his game plan should be moving forward in this match.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the prizes here for both players.
Ooh.
2 Melanies.
Not
from Daniel.
That's not great, but it's not the worst. They're at the bottom of the prizes, so they're pretty likely ones that Daniel will take after taking prize cards. It just means you'll probably have to use Shady Dealings to find that first Melanie.
Yeah, I was just going to say the Shady Dealings really, finding the first one goes a long way there. And we're off in game 2. It looks like Manaphy versus Mew V. Michael, of course, has opted to go first. Still just under 30 minutes left in the round, so a lot of time here. We're going to see Quick Ball discard a Training Court.
Yeah, Training Court hitting the discard pile. Probably, honestly, a card that Michael just doesn't want to put in play because it's pretty helpful to Daniel in certain instances. It's one less piece he may need to find to piece together a KO on a specific turn, so it doesn't feel too bad to discard that.
Absolutely, absolutely. We've seen the the Mew decks move towards more of a basic energy Training Court kind of setup since EUIC. I think just again just another kind of big metagame reflection here. But for this game, the Training Court's going to live in the discard pile, and Michael's going to make his selection off the Quick Ball, just checking his prizes before finding the Genesect V, again, like you said, the lifeblood of the deck, the thing that keeps things going. And it looks like we're going to see another search here. These Mew turns can often be very, very long here. Ultra Ball discarding Boss and Tablet.
Yeah, Tablet's not super important in this matchup compared to against something like Arceus, where you're always reaching for damage modifiers to get 1-hit knockouts. You really just need like 1 damage modifier to KO a Suicune, so it's not too bad at all. But losing the boss, I think, is not great, because that's really what Michael's strategy needs to be in this matchup, is targeting down those Lotads. But it looks like that was really his only option. It was either discard that or discard the Fusion Strike energy. So I don't know. It's definitely close between those two, I feel like.
Yeah, we see double Genesect hit the board. There's the Rose Tower.
Great
from
draw.
0 to 3. And we have another Genesect, a Quick Ball, and an Elisa Sparkle. It looks like, of course, first turn of the game, so Elisa Sparkle not too relevant here. And we're going to see some more Fusion Strike systems if Michael feels like he either wants to bench this third Genesect or get rid of a card with Quick Ball.
Yeah, I feel like Elisa Sparkle is not super important in this matchup specifically, but Michael's going to hang on to it here and discard that Genesect, eyeing up probably a Meloetta, and sure enough, that is what he grabs. Maybe wants to retreat into the Meloetta on turn 1. It's pretty unlikely, but I guess Daniel could technically get a KO on a Mew turn 1 with some Melanie plays, provided, of course, Michael fills the bench up a little bit more. So retreating into a 1-prizer is not too bad of an option, though I think limiting your bench and then leaving a 2-prizer active is maybe a little better.
Yeah, now we're going to see the first Fusion Strike system drawing 3 cards, going up to 4. And again,
another Sparkle.
Yeah, maybe feeling some regret off not getting rid of that first Sparkle, but you can't know what's on top of your deck here.
Yes, let's not be results based here in our our analysis, because I mean, I do feel like getting that extra Genesect would have been nice, but Rotom Phone can see the top 5 and put any 1 on top, and Mew VMAX for the next turn doesn't seem too bad to me.
It looks like a choice of Fusion Strike Energy. Mew VMAX just immediately takes
Nice.
the Mew VMAX, just recognizing, I need this evolution. I need something to attack with, something to kind of hopefully not get knocked out. Hopefully, kind of wall against the Suicune for at least a turn, not get knocked out with Ludicolo play. That Mew VMAX goes on top of his deck and then joins his hand here.
As long as alongside one other card, which is the basic Psychic Energy. So with 2 Sparkles in hand, Michael's going to have plenty of options to attack with whichever Pokemon he wants next turn between the Mew VMAX and the Meloetta. Now over to Daniel, who started Manaphy, which is not a great starter for this deck. You love starting Sobble because it lets you go keep calling and get more Sobbles in play. You don't mind starting Lotad because it has Call for Family and lets you get other basic Pokemon in play. Manaphy is a tech for certain matchups. It's really good against Urshifu, the big popular deck that won EUIC. Not great against Mew VMAX, though.
Yeah, definitely not the ideal starter here for Daniel. First play of the game for Daniel is going to be that Capacious Bucket for 2 Water Energies. Didn't quite see what else he had in his hand, but this, seems like a totally reasonable first turn. Let's see if he can kind of recover from this poor starter. And it looks...
Oh, I don't think he
actually,
has anything.
I don't think he has, literally anything now that I get a look at the hand.
I think we're going to see a Cross Switcher and a Rain Splash.
A big 20 damage to the Genesect
Hey, listen,
V.
I think Daniel's debating putting the Choice Belt here, doing 50, but no, just does the 20. And now Michael, all he needs is a switching card to win the game on this turn. Has the energy, has the Mew VMAX as well.
And you got to imagine that he'll be able... I think most of these lists are running 4 now. Some split, sometimes 5, some split of Switch and Escape Rope.
Yeah, usually 4 is pretty standard. And it does appear that it's just 1 switch, actually. 1 switch and the... no, 2 escape ropes.
Okay, so actually one switch effect fewer than you could expect here. So, maybe Daniel lives to play another turn.
Yeah, potentially. And there's only 4 Fusion Strike Pokemon in play right now, so that's going to be less cards drawn off of the Fusion Strike system unless this Rose Tower can find more basic Pokemon. Oh, well, looks like there's a Genesect there waiting in hand, which is not bad at all.
Yeah, so now if you're Daniel, this is one of the worst positions to be in, I think, where you're just kind of sitting here saying, I think it's like... Go on.
Yeah, Michael can also draw double turbo energy because the Alessa Sparkle accelerated, so you can just attach double turbo and escape rope.
There's the escape rope.
Will be all he needs.
Didn't even have to use a Fusion Strike system, just the Rose Tower got him there. And yeah, that's a really, really unfortunate situation there for Daniel. We talked about how game 1, he played so well and kind of was a little bit behind and kind of played to his out so well, and then game 2 just doesn't really get to make any game actions. But the good thing is we still have plenty of time for a game 3 here. Both of these games have been pretty quick. Both of these decks kind of take their prizes in fast fashion. So I expect that we'll be able to finish the entire match here. And, one of these players is going to improve greatly with 3 more match points.
Yeah, they're both at 5-1-1. So a win here locks them up for berth into the day 2, needing to get to at least 6 wins and 1 tie. That's 19 match points to make it in. And I think as Finn, if you're going to lose a game, you'd want it to be quick like that, right? Yeah, as opposed to a really close, long game, because that leaves you just less time for a game 3. So might as well just lose a quick one, start your Manaphy. Manaphy goes down, and then, okay, we'll pack it up, move to game 3. And now Daniel's actually going to also get to choose between going first and going second.
Do you think that's an obvious choice for him here?
I think it's matchup dependent. I think going second is not too bad though, especially since you have the 4 Sobbles and the 3 Lotads, all as great starters to help you get more Pokemon in play. So if I remember right from Salt Lake City, Daniel pretty much always chose to go second. So we'll see if that's what he continues to do here at Indiana.
Yeah, you end up seeing, again, very match dependent, but you end up seeing a lot of the Inteleon-based decks do that, especially if they're Inteleon-based decks that can keep calling for one of their attackers, like the Urshifu
Right.
deck often does that. So, most of the time in the Pokemon trading card game, first is where you want to be, but just goes to show that with certain combinations of cards, certain matchups, certain late games, you can definitely go second.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've always thought was really cool once they changed the rules once Sword and Shield came out, because pretty much always there was no reason to ever go second. You
Right.
always chose to go first because you could play a supporter. You could do everything you could do on turn 2, you just can't attack, right? So after that rule change, you can no longer play a supporter on turn 1, and it really gives players more choices and really makes you think about what you want to do when it comes to going first or going second, which I'm a really big fan of.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, more decision points like that are always better, kind of making it not such a simple decision and kind of giving more of a balance to the first and second players. Let's go ahead and take a look at the prize cards. These players, another Melanie prize, Suicune, 2 Fusion Strike Energy prize.
Yeah, that's not
Michael's
great,
side.
not great, but it's not as big of a deal in this matchup as it would be
Right.
against something like Arceus, where you really need to get all those Fusion Strike energies in play to reach for big one-hit knockouts. And it actually looks like Daniel has chosen to go first. Must feel like that is the play in this specific matchup.
Yep, so we see that Lotad in the active spot here that's called for a family attack. We see the Sobble hit the bench, and it looks like we're debating on what we're going to discard with this Quick Ball. Looks like it sells on Rare Candy.
Not a card you love to see hitting the discard pile right away, but actually has 2 of them in the opening hand. That is definitely less than ideal.
Yeah, definitely. You can see kind of Finn kind of going through the motions here. Okay, well, what do I discard? What am I going to get? What's my hand look like afterwards? And we're going to see players take a few minutes here to usually kind of search their deck, determine what's prized, and kind of these early turn decisions can mean so much.
And Daniel still has a level ball and a quick ball in hand. Kind of a tough call, though, because the other cards to discard off quick ball, being either a Scoop of Net or a second Rare Candy, are cards that you just don't want to get rid of. I definitely don't think Daniel will play the level ball because you want to save that for Drizzile on the next turn. So, yeah, it's definitely a little bit of an awkward spot for Daniel to be in right now.
Yeah, and he's just passing the turn
Yeah.
back with the 2 Sobble and the Lotad active, and now
Oh.
Michael gets, I see a Battle VIP pass, so they're going to
Yeah.
have quite the turn, it feels like.
What turns are made of, what dreams are made of for the Mew VMAX players, opening up with Battle VIP Pass. And I think I saw a Cramomatic in there, so I have a feeling we're going to be flipping some coins and trying to get another Battle VIP Pass this turn.
Indeed, Battle VIP Pass, just one of the strongest cards to have in specifically this position and specifically this sort of deck where, again, we're trying to fill our bench. We're trying to basically get as many Pokemon in play as we can. There's a couple of Rotom Phones in the hand as well. And
Okay.
it's like Michael's going to determining, okay, well, what exactly, do I need to get 2 Genesect off this? Genesect Meloetta, like kind of what, based on what's in my hand, what's prized, what the board looks like, what exactly do I need to get? And it looks like pulled a Mew and a Meloetta to the front. Also has that Ultra Ball in hand, so going to be able to...
Plenty of options this turn, for sure. Cramomatic, I think, can discard one of those Rotom Phones pretty freely and feel okay about it. Just debating which Pokemon to get in play here, and I'm sure Michael would love to reach for a knockout this turn, be it with either Meloetta or Psychic Leaping with a Mew, like we saw in game number 1.
Absolutely. So we are going to see Meloetta and Genesect V as the choices off that Battle VIP Pass, and now we are seeing the Elisa Sparkle, of course, choosing what Pokemon are going to get the energy first. It is going to be that Mew and that Meloetta, kind of the standard choice in this position.
Yep, grabs both energies out of the deck and has a double turbo in hand. So the question, I think, becomes for Michael, do you attach this double turbo energy and try to dig for a power tablet? Or do you hold off on attaching and try to find either a basic Psychic or another Fusion Strike energy?
Remains to be seen what Michael is going to do here.
Yeah, has the Cramomatic, has Ultra Ball like you mentioned, so we could see another Genesect come down. I mean, what we could see is just Cramomatic away a Rotom Phone, and then Ultra Ball away 2 cards, go get a Genesect, and you're just drawing a bunch of cards this turn.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some we've seen these Mew players. I mean, sometimes the card, because of the Fusion Strike system, the cards in your hand are still resources, but they're resources in a very different way than in most decks. Most deck, you know, every card is valuable, and when you discard it, you know, it really matters, and you have to think about it. And in these Mew decks, it's just every card you have in your hand is kind of a detriment in a way.
Okay, so does attach the double turbo to the Meloetta, so now no longer needs to find a damage modifier, can just Melodious Echo for 120 damage, which is enough to knock out little Lotad, but will be losing theoretically 2 energies, assuming Daniel can piece together a KO.
Fusion Strike system to draw 3 cards.
So
Yes, go on.
So now grabs the second Genesect out, so I feel like we're going to see a bunch of cards drawn this turn.
Yeah, 4 Fusion Strike Pokemon in play. It looks like just 1 card in Michael's hand, so you're going to see 3 new ones, and we are going to see, I mean, how big of a deal do you think it is to have, you know, if the plays go as we expect and the Meloetta takes a knockout and then gets knocked out, how big of a deal is it to be missing those 2 energy, you know, that Fusion Strike energy for the rest of the game?
It's just going to force you to find more turn after turn, maybe play in Alessas on a turn that you may want to Boss's Orders, something like that. So we'll draw a couple more. I think really just here looking for an item card to discard on the Cramomatic, so he can maybe go get another Battle VIP pass, but draws into 0 item cards.
Wow.
So it's just going to have to be the Melodious Echo, taking the KO, and back over to Daniel, who sends up Sobble.
Yeah, it looks like the top deck was a Manaphy, and now Level Ball, kind of one of the staple cards in this Intellion engine, can find the Drizzile now, which obviously can shady dealings and kind of get you rolling here. We'll have to see exactly what line Daniel takes this turn.
Yeah, I think maybe you can grab the, you know, obviously Drizzile here, and then Quick Ball for a Suicune, then you have Scoop Up Net in hand. You need to find a way to get energies in the discard pile plus a Melanie, though, and that is the thing that Daniel is missing. So maybe he has to go with the bucket first, and that's what he chooses to do.
I wouldn't have noticed, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it looks like that's what he decides is, okay, I'm getting this bucket, and I just immediately need to play it.
Oh, has the Quick Ball in hand already, so can get the Suicune with that, and can discard the Capacious Bucket, and then Scoop Up Net can pick up the Drizzile, send up the Suicune, and then you can grab Melanie with the benched Sobble evolving into Drizzile. So it's all coming together pretty nicely.
Yep, and we see, just as you described, Quick Ball discards the water, gets my Suicune, and I think we're going to see exactly what you described over the course of this turn. Melanie's just such a strong card for a deck like this.
Energy Excel plus drawing cards, yeah, pretty good. And also Suicune has a little bit of built-in draw in itself with that fleet-footed. So that's always a ability you can't forget because it is really, really good.
Yeah, so there's a Scoop Up Net. That Drizzile is back in hand. That Sobble is free to be evolved into. We're going to see the fleet-footed.
Great card to hit.
Another Level Ball.
Very nice. This can get either a Lotad out, this can get another Sobble, or Daniel could even hold it for a Drizzile on the next turn, potentially.
And immediately eyes the Melanie.
And I think Daniel will probably choose to hold off on playing the Level Ball until after the Melanie gets played. Another one of these big sequencing things, because in this instance, Daniel wants to find more Pokemon to put into play. So you don't want to play Level Ball and go get a Pokemon like a Sobble or a Lotad out of the deck, because you're decreasing your odds to draw into one of those Pokemon since there's a bunch of them in the deck right now. But maybe in other instances where you're digging for something else besides Pokemon, it would then be better to play the Level Ball. Just in this instance, this is definitely the right play, and he's going to get 3 cards here, looking for more Pokemon.
Looks like he did draw a Lotad.
Not bad, not bad. Also has a Sobble in hand, we know, from the Scoop Up Net still.
And that's actually just so important, too. Like, having the Lotad already and just knowing the Level Ball gets a Drizzile, gets any trainer you want, just like, that's so much more important than like just a random Level Ball or random search card usually is. Just one of the just huge powers of the Intellion engine. There's the attachment from a hand to the active.
Blizzard Rondo dealing more than enough to deal with Meloetta over here. And Daniel will tie the prize race up, and I'll be really interested to see how Michael approaches this. Does Michael go for the knockout, the 2 prizes on the Suicune V, or does he do what he did in Game 1 and try to chase down these Lotads?
Yeah, it's really just a question of, how you think what your path to victory is for both you and your opponent, right? Given kind of the state of the board, the prize count, state of your hands. And I think, again, as you described in game one, I think the kind of general baseline plan should be to knock out those low tads and just, be able to just make your Mew VMAX stay in play for so much longer. But
Yeah, and then you have to make some psychic leap plays happen to try to heal your Mews after they theoretically get hit by Suicune. But as we saw in game one, Daniel really played around that by going with cross switchers as much as he could.
Right, and we do see that knockout 5 prizes remaining for each player. That Mew V gets promoted to the active spot, and now Michael's just doing some thinking about, okay, exactly what do I need, what do I have access to, how, and ultimately, how do I want to, what game plan do I want to enact here?
Yeah, has the energy, has the boss as well. Only thing missing at this point is the Mew VMAX, but I see a Cramomatic there in hand, which we know can get any card out of the deck. So yeah, I mean, this is Michael's decision point here. Do you chase the prize cards and try to prize race Daniel, or do you go after the low tad? Tough call. Michael has all of the options available to him right now, though.
Well, it's such a tough call, too, because of, just because of how strong Melanie is, that energy acceleration, just or Daniel can just rebuild this Suicune every turn. So knocking it out really only, that's not quite this simple, but it really only just changes the prize race. It doesn't really change the resource race.
Right.
Speaking of resources, there's the Cramomatic hits ahead, and it looks like Mew VMAX is going to be the card that Michael selects.
Yep, the one piece that he's missing to get off an attack this turn, and does grab it, puts it into the hand. You don't have to show your opponent what you get off of the Cramomatic, so
you do not.
It's going to put that face down, and I think it's going to evolve pretty quickly. Had a Mew V in hand as well, so we'll still see plenty of cards drawn on the Fusion Strike system. I think the big question for me at this point in the turn is, will Alessa Sparkle be played to try to set up, an energy on the bench, or will Boss's Orders be played and target down that low tad?
Yeah, I think that's really, it feels like this turn is really the turning point in the game.
Which game plan are you going for?
Exactly,
right?
Yeah, and we do see the evolution into the Mew VMAX. There's the Fusion Strike energy from hand. Looks like Michael's doing some counting.
Yeah, maybe trying to just prize math it out. Or maybe is going to think about not benching the Mew V because he's feeling like even with a Ludicolo, maybe this Mew is out of range. Let's see. Let's do some, with 8 benched Pokemon, that's 180. Even with a Ludicolo, that puts it up to 280. So Daniel could still get the KO with the Choice Belt.
He needs exactly Choice Belt to do it.
Yeah, it's a big combo to hit. And maybe Michael's saying, you're not going to hit it if I'm knocking out your Suicune because you're going to have to find that much more to set up. You're going to have to use your Shady Dealings to set up another Suicune as opposed to finding those combo pieces.
It looks like Alessa Sparkle finds no Fusion Strike energy.
Yeah, one's still in the prize cards, we know.
And one was on the Meloetta that got knocked out. So just kind of thinning the hand down there. Also, I guess, revealing to Finn that the other Fusion Strike is in the prizes as well. It's not nothing.
Oh, definitely not, yeah. Draws 1. It's another Mew. I actually think it makes no difference if you bench a Mew here, right? Because Daniel needs a Choice Belt regardless. Because with 9 bench Pokemon in play, it's 200, right? So that would be 300, so you'd be 10 short. So Daniel does need the Choice Belt regardless. So does choose to bench a Mew now and draw 2 more cards. So this is going to be tough. It's a lot for Daniel to hit. It's definitely possible, though. We've seen it happen. Ooh, with that other benched Pokemon coming down, though, now Daniel no longer needing the Choice Belt.
Yeah, wow. So that's a pretty big commitment there by Michael, just saying, okay, well, I'm fully on the I don't care about Ludicolo plan.
Yeah.
I'm fully on the I'm not only going to knock it out, but I'm also going to play into it.
I'm gonna cross fusion for 210.
And it will be a cross fusion strike, copying the Technoblast. 210 damage, exactly enough to KO the Suicune V. And Finn right away sends up the Drizzile, which of course we know he's going to be trying to evolve into Inteleon as quickly as possible. And there's an evolution instance right there in the hand.
Yeah, so I mean, this is, I guess, you can think of Michael's last turn as him declaring to Finn, I don't think you can do this. I don't think you can set up the Suicune with another energy and the Ludicolo
Well,
this turn.
something else as well, like Daniel doesn't have to do it this turn. Or
Right.
Finn, what Finn can do is he can, with one cross switcher in hand, get another cross switcher and try to target down a Mew V this turn, since it is so much for him to hit, advance the hand size quite a bit, and then try to pull off the big combo on the next turn. And what you could also do in that instance is try to bench another Lotad. Exactly.
And we do see that in Teleon. There's the shady dealings. We're going to see a quick ball and a scoop up net. And the thing you have to remember too is, obviously all of these players who are, especially with records like Daniels and Michaels, are great players, great competitors. But if there is a line with this deck, Finn is going to find it.
Definitely.
Finn is not going to make a silly little mistake. despite arriving here at 5 in the morning or something, something ridiculous, is not going to make a silly little mistake. He knows line. He's played this deck hundreds of games. He knows exactly how all the pieces intersect, and that's can be an intimidating thing to play against.
Yeah, he has maybe played more Suicune than any other Pokemon player, I would venture to say. So
yes, I think that's probably not even close. We do see the scoop up net on the active Inteleon Suicune V moving in to the active spot.
And can also use the fleet-footed at some point in here. It's always interesting to see when the optimal time is to use it. It looks like Finn wants to get out a Pokemon with the level ball first, and then go for the fleet-footed to try to hit maybe like a Melanie or an energy card, something like that.
Right, so we're going to see that level ball come down, and now I think this is the question, right? You have the Drizzile already in hand. You only have one Sobble in play, so now. Oh, no, I guess we are finding the other Sobble. Okay, that was a real question. We saw the Lotad pulled to the front, kind of describing maybe going for the play that you described, where you're setting up 2 and kind of putting your opponent in a really tough spot.
So, yeah, Daniel is leaving himself the option here pretty much. Can still get the big Ludicolo knockout potentially. Let's see the fleet-footed. What's the hit? It's a cross switcher. Now Daniel, though, needs to find a scoop-up net if he wants to go with a cross switcher play, though.
Right, so he does have the other one. So there's a Drizzile, there's the shady dealings. This will be the only shady dealings that happens this turn.
This is probably going to grab the Melanie, and sure enough, that gets put right into the hand. Could have grabbed Raihan as well, but I think Daniel must need more than just one specific card. Needs to draw multiple cards here and try to hit something off of the 3.
Right, and these games which have been so interesting to watch, just because it comes down to, especially from Daniel's side, but really from both players' side, just comes down to all of these kind of, okay, which game plan do I want to go with? What's more likely to happen? What decision do I want to make, just over and over and over again? And we do see the Melanie. There's a water onto the Suicune, and 3 fresh cards.
Needs a Ludicolo out here or a scoop-up net, and doesn't get either. So I don't think Daniel is going to be able to get a KO this turn.
I don't think so, because it was two supporters and a Lotad, I believe.
Yeah, so he needed to. He's got enough basic Pokemon, but what he needed was either the scoop-up net to go with the cross-switcher play and take a 2-prize KO, or get an Ludicolo or Ludicolo out, like an Evolution Incense or Ultra Ball, and then you can go for the big one-hit KO on the Mew. But now, it just doesn't look like Daniel quite got there, and it feels really bad to hit into this Mew for 220 whenever Michael can just boss his orders a Lotad and Psychic Leap it back into the deck.
Yeah, not the best position to be in here if you are Finn, and you're exactly right. That's exactly what happened. All of these damage counters on Mew, don't really matter if Michael doesn't want them to.
Yep, Psychic Leap, a great option for Mew VMAX. One of the reasons I think it is so powerful is because you can pull off plays like that in the right time, and also has a Mew VMAX to potentially promote if he wants to make it harder for Daniel to reach for a big KO, or, of course, can promote like a 2-prizer to try to force Daniel into a weird prize race situation.
Yeah, honestly, despite what we said, time is kind of ticking down here.
Yeah, true.
This game has gone a little bit longer than the other, just over a minute remaining. There's a switch and then the double evolution to Max.
That means there will not be a Psychic Leap this turn. So maybe this means Michael wants to go for the Marnie this turn potentially, because Daniel does have a pretty sizable hand.
Yeah, the boss's orders here is not really going to help with the double, the double Sobble, double Lotad.
Right. Gonna just draw 1. off of the Genesect.
Looks like Elisa Sparkle joins the hand off of that Fusion Strike
Yeah,
system.
and Michael here with 3 prize cards remaining. This play actually makes sense. Psychic Leaping, yeah, not the best option. I think you just take this knockout on the Suicune, force Finn to respond, and if he doesn't, you just have to knock out any one Pokemon. An Escape Rope works, a Boss's Orders works. I think Michael is just in a very much winning position right now.
And we do see that Marnie get played, disrupting the hand of Finn. Quick Ball discards, I believe, Quick Ball to find nothing here, as time is probably going to expire this turn. 30 seconds remaining, but it should be enough time to finish the game. There's the Rose Tower, the most popular stadium card in these decks. Looks like it's going to go ahead and get activated, draw up to 3. Fusion Strike system going to draw 3 more.
It's a Power Tablet, Battle VIP Pass. Actually, that was the Escape Rope. That's actually a pretty decent card to hit. Ooh, is going to retreat and go in with the damaged Mew. I guess it doesn't really matter which one you attack with, since either of them can knock out any of these one-prizers on the bench.
And I will use Cross Fusion Strike.
And now all Daniel has to do is copy the Genesect's attack, take a KO, go down to just 1 prize card remaining. And we are in a situation where time is likely being called right now. And since Daniel has not promoted a Pokemon, that actually means Michael will be turn 0 and Daniel will be turn 1, which is a big deal because Michael's only going to have 1 more turn this game.
It has to do it on that turn, assuming that's what happened with time. Sometimes the actual clock is a little bit different than the stream clock. We'll get confirmation of that as Daniel promotes his Drizzile.
Does send up the Drizzile, can of course scoop up net to clear it out of play. Got a pretty decent hand here off of the Marnie, it seems like. Has an energy for has an energy, of course, for the Suicune. Needs to get it out, though. With the Shady Dealings, can get a Quick Ball and a Melanie. Those were the 2 cards I'd up. And we have gotten confirmation now. Daniel is indeed turn 1. So time, it does look like was called kind of in that weird in-between turns phase.
Right.
But Daniel hadn't promoted yet, hadn't drawn a card. So Michael was still turn 0.
Yep, so basically the way that the game's going to play out here, unless I'm missing something, is that Daniel is going to have to just play for the draw, right? He's not gonna. Oh, he's gonna have 1 more turn after this, right?
Right.
Because he's turn 1. Okay.
Yeah. So he can still theoretically win, but it involves Michael whiffing on the next turn, which is gonna be difficult, but it is entirely possible. Finn's gonna play to those outs and try his best to make sure that doesn't happen. And Cape of Toughness is a decent way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Just you can see kind of Daniel saying, okay, well, things have changed a little bit now. I just need to prevent. I just need you to whiff basically next turn, which is I'm not sure how likely that is, but you got to play to all of your outs.
Has to whiff Boss or Escape Rope. Either of those cards will just allow Michael to pretty much instantly win. And I think I see that Escape Rope in hand already.
Oh wow, yeah, we see.
Has it at the front of the hand. He's ready to play it. Finn doesn't know that, though. He's going to keep playing it out. Goes with the Melanie. Gets an energy on the active and now draws 3 more cards, looking for whatever pieces he can find to try to claw back into this game. Definitely in a bad spot right now, though.
Yeah, that was quite an unfortunate turn of events here. We do just see Michael sitting with that Escape Rope just saying, okay. Oh, I have the Escape Rope in my hand. He's just going to show him.
I'm sorry.
Oh, he's trying to just wrap it up quicker, but yeah, I think...
I'm so sorry, dude.
Oh, maybe he thought Daniel was attacking.
I think that's the way he thought. You can kind of hear Michael apologizing, saying, sorry, not trying to... trying to cause any issues.
Yeah, jumping ahead just a little bit. We're not quite there. Daniel now has that knowledge, though, so Michael's kind of just volunteered a little bit of information to Daniel, but I don't know that there's really anything he can even do about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think it really matters, right? Well,
okay, here's what he can do now. What Daniel can do is he can get Scoop Up Net and bench another Suicune and force Michael to have Escape Rope plus a damage modifier, because you can push the Suicune. It has 210. The Mew on the bench has the double turbo, so it needs a damage modifier as well to get the KO.
Does he have access to another Suicune?
It doesn't look like it.
No, he just says, okay, drops his hand and extends the hand for the handshake. Michael Hopkins is going to take this match in time, advance to 6-1-1, and be locked up for day 2 here. Still some rounds to play, but it feels really good knowing that, still 1 round to play actually, but it still feels really good to know that you're kind of, no matter what happens next round, you're in there. Finnegan is on the other side of things where it's like, okay, well, now I need to win. Now the pressure's really on.
Yeah, 1 round remaining. Being at 5-2-1 is a weird spot because you have to win to make it into day 2. Congratulations.